What were my testosterone numbers with Enclomiphene? Before I give you that answer, let me just say, hey, please subscribe, please comment on the video, and please like the video. All right, what's up, YouTube? Dog here with another video. And in today's video, I'm gonna be talking about no longer being natural. I have medicine here, but I'm not sure if YouTube would allow me to show it. I don't know, it's just medication, but I showed you the cap. So I guess that's all you're gonna see. Yeah, so this video is going to be about Enclomephine. So, I was thinking about, like, should I even put this up? I'm new here to YouTube. I haven't been really making a lot of videos until recently. So I was like, does it make any sense to go out and say, hey, I'm not natural, whatever. But I was thinking, like, just in case there's something towards the future, because I would like to be able to help a lot of people and, help people lose weight and do all that amazing stuff. And then I don't want later to come and say, like, oh, hey, this guy, he's not natural. So everything he said is bull. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to go over the medication, the pros, the cons, and why I'm taking it. You can pretty much see my physique right now. And I'll put a picture on the screen. Long story short, I felt like I needed the medication. I had just now started taking this medication again. I took it before sometime last year, and I wasn't a huge fan of it, so I stopped taking it. So right now I'm 34 years old. I want to say I started working out when I was 26, claiming that I was super disciplined. Sometimes I would skip workout days. Sometimes I would be consistent for a couple of weeks. Kind of like, I don't know, kind of like yo-yo dieting. Sometimes I'm consistent with it, sometimes not. I was never consistent with my nutrition. Right? I would eat whatever the hell I wanted. I would sometimes eat dirty, sometimes eat clean. Just living my life in my 20s, but I was lifting. At the beginning, it was different. I was like, oh man, this feels so good. I'm like seeing a little bit of muscle gain, taking pictures. Everybody already thinking I'm on steroids after like 1 month of working out. I guess, being in a small town, people don't really see that kind of thing. Or maybe the people I was around, they were like, man, you taking steroids already. So during this time working out, I noticed, like, man, like, I'm sore a lot. My legs were always sore, always taking a long time to heal. My legs sore. If I really worked chest really hard, my chest would be sore. And then I think I was doing at very, very beginning, like a 5-day split, listening to these drugged out bodybuilders do 5-day split, listening to The Rock, getting up early, working out before anybody else. I was getting up like 3:30 in the morning working out because I was so ashamed of being a little scrawny dude, came and bench pressed the bar, you know what I mean? But, past that, I was sore a lot. And it was after like a couple of months, it was very hard for me to push. There's like a point in the gym where you feel great. You want to go to the gym. Some days I would feel that, but a lot of days I didn't want to go. And that's why I skipped some workouts. But some days, I'm like, man, I really want to build muscle. So let me just go to the gym. I would force myself to go to the gym. So here I'm forcing myself to go, tired, fatigued a little bit. I'm like, man, like, I don't get why this is so hard. Like, everybody else is lifting heavy ass weights. And I know I was, beginner, but, I was still like, it was very strange. Like, I did make newbie gains. I'm not complaining about that. I did get stronger over time. I did gain muscle kind of quickly. Like, I think like within a couple of months, I was able to bench, a 45 on each side or something like that. So I Googled, my symptoms, and one of the results was like low testosterone. Keep in mind, I didn't know anything about testosterone. I was like, oh yeah, guys make testosterone. We have testosterone and whatever. I didn't really think much of it, but it was like, yeah, low testosterone can cause this. So I was looking up a little bit about low testosterone, and I went to the doctor. And long story short, she gave me like a testosterone test. I did blood work. I think my results came back at 290, like 292 or something like that. And me being like, not knowing anything, I read that, I think it was said 300 and up was the normal. So I was like, that's kind of below 300. It's kind of low. And she had the nerve to say, oh, no, that's normal. That's normal for men. I didn't know that was only normal for maybe a man 80 years old. But I took her for her word and just thought it's because maybe I'm just an ectomorph. This is going to be how it is. This is whatever. So years later, till last year, even before last year, maybe a year before that, I started getting even more tired. And it's not just being in the gym. It's like during the daytime, I'm kind of tired. My workouts suffered even more. I did get stronger, but I got stuck at, I think, 185 bench for years. I was stuck there for maybe 3 years, 2 or 3 years or something like that. I was like, why is my bench stuck? So I was Googling how to increase your bench. I tried to be more consistent, training my chest, stuff like that. And I saw somebody give advice like, put heavy weight on there and just lift it. So I tried that and I think it might have helped. I ended up doing 2 plates at that time. It was heavy, but I managed to do it. Went to the doctor. She referred me actually to a urologist. So I see the urologist, take more blood work, and my testosterone, it didn't drop that much. It was like 280 this time. So I was like, all right, this is low. I don't care what anybody says. Like, I don't care what you say, that's low. He was talking to me about testosterone, and he gave me a pamphlet on testosterone to read when I got home. And he said, before we start on this, let's do Enclomiphene. So I was like, okay, we could try Enclomiphene. I read about Clomid or something like that. It was whatever Enclomiphene is, it's another version, but it's worse. I didn't want to do that. So I was reading by, I was like, yeah, I don't want to do Clomid. Enclomiphene sounds good. So I take the Enclomiphene as prescribed. So he prescribed me 25 milligrams every day. And I increased my bench in less than 6 months. I was saying in 2 to 3 months, I increased my bench to 255. Being all excited, I have my own bench press here at home. Being excited, I would do bench every day. I was like, hell yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I started to be like the Flash, running quick, going crazy, making gains quick. So I felt good. Keep in mind, it did take a couple of months, but I felt good. So that's pretty much why I started taking Enclomiphene. So, some stuff happened after that and I kind of stopped taking it. So let me go ahead and tell you the pros and cons of Enclomiphene. Pro number 1. Now, hey, I don't know if this is because I'm black. I don't want to see in the comments like, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say it on YouTube, but, they have a channel called BBC channel. I don't want to be hearing that in the comments, man, but my marbles are not marbles. They're more like eggs. They grew tremendously. They grew so much, like, I would have to keep adjusting. Sometimes I get uncomfortable, have a little sexy time, and I feel like, yeah. Hard to explain appropriately, but maybe you understand what I'm talking about. And not only that, but so I've had erection problems for years. And I thought, maybe I just need some Cialis. So I started taking Cialis. It helped a little bit. But as soon as I started taking Enclomiphene, I'm telling you, like, the erections are like at another level. Just going through puberty, waking up in the morning, It looks like I put something in my pants. My libido shot up. And I'm not talking about like just a little bit. At the beginning, maybe I'd want sex. And you know, it's really embarrassing, but maybe like once every 2 weeks. It barely really crossed my mind. But on Enclomiphene, I wanted it every day. Once a day minimum, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times a day. It all depends. Marbles, more like eggs, you know, really, really big. And, you know, the other little guy, little odd dog is, you know, no longer like, you know, it's like big odd dog now, like bigger than it was before. Pro number 2. So like I said, I increased my bench to 255 for like 5 reps, 6 reps. I don't know how, but I would do bench and I would bench again the next day. I couldn't bench every single day, but maybe like, you know, I'll just do a couple of sets here and there. So if you already have good testosterone, I don't know how to really explain it. Maybe you already feel this way, but me, like I could not work out that much. I had fatigue. It's hard to work out. So if you're suffering through this, imagine it being hard to work out. You're tired. You're like, I don't want to do this. This sucks. Take that. And now just imagine what it'd be like to actually want to lift. And if I didn't work out, I would feel restless. I would be doing air punches all the time. I would be like, I would have all this energy built up in me that I had to release. And this is coming from not even abusing Enclomiphene. I think you can abuse Enclomiphene, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. But during this time, I was just working out at home, not going to the gym. So I would, you know, I was able to do like 11 pull-ups. I was like going crazy. So that's a huge positive. Another positive is, you know, mood changes. So there's a lot of stuff with mood, but what I will say is, you know, so my personality, I like to think. I like to think before I do things. I'm a little bit more like on the careful side. You know, I'm a little bit more passive, not as much aggressive. And taking Enclomiphene, it changes this. You know, I'm more like, we're just gonna do this, more assertive, stuff like that. So, you know, you see these positive mood changes. You get kind of a new, so this can actually be a pro and a con, and we're going to talk about that in the cons. But yeah, so I feel a lot better, a lot more confident in myself. I don't know why that is. Maybe because my hormones are balanced now. Hormones are everything. If you feel weird, get your hormones checked. All right, time to talk about the cons. So, like I said, I was taking 25 milligrams per day, especially at the beginning when your hormones are not balanced. I think there's a lot of problems that I face. So, the main problem is emotional stability, emotional stuff. Just, you know, just your mind. So like I said, I'm more of a, you know, more passive. I think about things before I do actions. You know, I'm more calculating. When I was taking 25 milligrams every day, and I feel terrible about this. So there's 2 people that I strictly remember being assholes to. You know, there's one person in the gym and then one person that was just outside, you know, just irked me the wrong way. I was feeling a certain type of way. Like if you end up seeing this video, like, man, like I wish that I did not do this. You know, I was mean, you know, like I didn't do anything physical. I just snapped, you know, just being an asshole. And man, from the bottom of my heart, like I really have to apologize for that because yeah, like I still think about it to this day. And yeah, it's just like something that I really wouldn't do. And yeah, I just still feel terrible about it. Like they really did not deserve just me to snap at them over pretty much nothing. So yeah, Enclomiphene, at the very beginning, your hormones are not balanced. So the testosterone is going up, your estrogen might be going up. I'm not 100% sure how Enclomiphene works. I'm not a urologist. I'm not as knowledgeable about that stuff. So like I said, I snapped at some guys. I've done things like getting super angry, like irritable, and, you know, just have this kind of like, I don't know, dominant energy, but not really in a good way, just like asshole dominant energy sometimes. And it's really a problem, right? Because I'm a strong believer of controlling your emotions. And yeah, there's just some days like I just felt mad about nothing. And even, you know, just sitting and thinking like about, you know, the past, like, man, this guy did this before, or this person, you know, they said this, like, why'd they do, like, how, like, if they do that right now, like, man, I wish they would do that right now. Like, stupid stuff that really unnecessary things. So it's not like, you know, you're on trend and stuff like that. I don't know how that feels. I'm never gonna touch those drugs, never have. But I know, you know, people know roid rage, and I felt like I had a little bit of roid rage going on. You know, even getting mad driving. You know, people can't drive. People don't even, hey, tutorial, by the way, how to use your turn signal. Click, or press click, then look. You don't be doing all this. Click. Yeah, just get mad over that stuff. You know, like, my personal belief, it's not my job to teach this person how to drive. Like, they drive it however they want. My only concern be they stay the hell away from me. But I would get mad about this type of stuff. All right, so second bad thing, also emotional, is, well, kind of, but cortisol spike. So in the middle of the night, like, I would wake up and I couldn't go back to sleep because I felt alert for some reason. I felt, some days I wake up in the middle of the night and I'll be like, am I done sleeping? Like, what time is it? Is it time to get up? But I would wake up extremely alert and couldn't go back to sleep. What I will say is, after a while, I took it every other day. And then, you know, if I would feel something, I would skip the day. And this helped tremendously. I'm trying to think of other negatives to Enclomiphene. Oh, so blood work. So there was one time my estrogen was high and my red blood cell count was high. This was around the time I was taking Enclomiphene and not even working out, smoking weed, getting high every day. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I know, you know, weed can, I think, increase estrogen. So that's pretty much all the negatives that I can think of. A lot of emotional stuff, because remember, hormones are very important. Hormones, you know, keep our emotions in check. It helps us with energy, stuff like that. So what were my testosterone numbers with Enclomiphene? I bet you just wait for that answer. And before I give you that answer, let me just say, hey, please subscribe, please comment on the video, and please like the video. If you're interested in killing yourself with bodybuilding, you just want to take Enclomiphene when you have already like 700 testosterone, you just want to make more gains, you can go ahead and dislike the video and get out of here, because I'm not about that life. What was my testosterone numbers on Enclomiphene? I think the highest it went to was 600. And that was when I was working out. When I wasn't working out, I think I tested 590. The marijuana kind of blocked out the good feelings of Enclomiphene, but I managed to raise my testosterone to 600, and that was perfect for me. I got to 600 without abusing Enclomiphene. So I pretty much a little bit more than doubled my testosterone. And I was taking a lower dose than my doctor prescribed because I didn't like the negative side effects. So it's actually been a couple of months since I've taken Enclomiphene because, like I said, I went a while without working out. I gained weight. I haven't, been, keeping my health in check. So unfortunately, I'm starting from the beginning again. This is gonna be fun, you know. Gonna do the same thing I did last time. So pretty much I'm just gonna take a lower dose than doctor prescribed. I think you should take the minimum dose to be healthy. Take the minimum. And for me, that's about 12.5 every other day or so. 12.5 milligrams. So the minimum amount. We're all about health here. I'm all about health, not killing yourself. This is not one of those channels. Yeah, if you're having some issues, low on energy, it's important to get your blood work done anyways. Just get everything done. And if a doctor tells you 200, 300 is normal, you go see somebody else. Because that's normal for like 70-year-olds, something like that. But not somebody my age. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Peace.